30,000 people in the U.S. have Huntington's disease. That's 1 in every 10,000 people in the U.S. that have the HD disease. And then another 150,000 are at risk for developing Huntington's disease. Do you know anybody that has Huntington's disease? I know 5 people that have Huntington's disease. Today I'm going to share with you some of the symptoms that people could develop that have Huntington's disease. I've worked in nursing homes for the last 7 years, and I've taken care of a few people who have Huntington's disease. I'll explain to you some of the symptoms that I have witnessed these people go through. What is Huntington's disease? It's a disease that affects the neurons in the brain, and they take your functions away so that you have a hard time functioning in your daily life. It's a hereditary disease, and only one of your parents have to carry the gene for you to get it. And then if you have the gene and have kids, those kids have a 50-50 chance of developing the disease themselves. It's named after Dr. George Huntington, and he found this gene malmutation back in 1875. It typically affects people from the age of 30 to 55. It can affect both men and women. It's an untreatable disease, and they're working on coming up with some treatments to help those people get through it. Some of the symptoms that I have seen some of these people have are jerking stiff muscles, where when they're walking, I've seen them walk like boards, walk like toy soldiers, really stiff, and they bring their legs up as they're walking, and they'll have straight arms. They have impaired gait, balance, posture. Some of them look like they're a drunk person, just staggering all over because they can't hold themselves upright as their muscles deteriorate, and when they get to that point, they're at a higher risk for falls. Their speech and their eating are affected as the muscles in their mouth and throat deteriorate. They can't use their muscles to form words. They can't get those words out of their mouths. Their eating, they get to the point where they have trouble swallowing. They have trouble feeding themselves. They don't know how to start conversations. They can't form the right words to respond to you. They have a hard time concentrating, to getting thoughts together. They have a hard time concentrating on their behaviors or their actions. They get to the point where they don't even think about what they're doing, they just go and do it. They have a lack of impulse control over any of their behaviors, so they get to the point where they have some off-the-wall behaviors, screaming, slamming doors, trying to go places that that they can't go. They make stuff up. They have unlimited supplies of whatever it is that they want. Nothing runs out. They get socially withdrawn, and their old activities they lose interest in. Though some of them sit in their room and don't want to come out, talk to anybody. They don't want to see their family anymore. They don't want to see their friends anymore. They just want to lay in bed and sleep all day. Changes in appetite. Sometimes they eat and eat and eat and eat and gain weight, and then at other times they won't eat a darn thing, and then they start losing weight. They get to the point where they have a hard time feeding themselves because the muscles in their arms start deteriorating, and the jerkiness movements, because they'll get to the point where they're just jerking all over the place because they can't control their muscles anymore, and it makes it hard for them to eat. They can't get the utensils into their mouths, and they get frustrated, and sometimes they just give up and not even feed themselves anymore. Sometimes they get inappropriate sexual behaviors. They can't control themselves, and they don't have the part of their brain that says that you can't do this out in public, and they just go and do whatever it is that pops in their mind to do. And 5 minutes is not long enough to go over all the symptoms that some of these people come down with, and it's definitely not enough time to get into every small detail of the symptoms. So if you're interested in learning more, the Mayo Clinic has awesome background on Huntington's disease, and so does the website Huntington's Disease Society. They have some awesome information, and I've used both of these sites in helping me put my presentation together. I've shared with you some of the symptoms that I have seen these people with Huntington's disease have and they show, and hopefully you are interested in learning more.